Hi and welcome to the running channel. I'm Andy and today, along with Anna, we're going to be taking a first look at the brand new Hoka One Clifton Edge.
Yeah, this shoe has just been released, so we're going to be taking a look at everything that you need to know about the Hoka One Clifton Edge. The tech, the specs, what it's like to run in, and whether it can live up to Hoka's claim that it's the smoothest ride on the road.
Don't forget to hit subscribe and tap the bell icon to be notified when we upload new videos. We do our best to bring you all the tips you could need about running, as well as exciting first looks at new gear, technology and shoes, alongside entertainment and challenges every single week.
Hoka's Clifton range has been around for some time now. In fact, the very first Clifton was launched in 2014 and the Clifton 7 is due for release soon too. Now, the Clifton range is somewhere around the best of both worlds because it provides maximal cushioning, but also it's super lightweight. In fact, for the Clifton Edge, the men's shoe weighs in at 253 grams, whilst the women's shoe is 206 grams. Super light.
So what's new in the Clifton Edge? Well, first up, it's the foam, and in fact this is the lightest proprietary Hoka foam to date. Alongside that, we've got what Hoka call their early stage meta rocker, which allegedly allows for a more responsive ride. And then there's something that's completely unavoidable when you look at or pick up these shoes, and that's this extended heel geometry here, which allegedly cradles the foot and provides a supportive base. Now, if you're familiar with the shoe that Hoka launched earlier this year on the trails called the 10.9, then that has a really extended heel section which provides support and traction on downhill trails. So I'm really interested to see whether this has a useful real-world application on the roads.
There's this padded collar around the heel for extra comfort around the ankle, and on this model they've also done away with the pull loop on the heel to get it on, so instead you've got this vertical pull tab. It's also got a really minimalist tongue inside it as well, which it sits separate from the rest of the upper as well. And let's just talk about the colourways. So this reminds me of a marshmallow, and I think that might be what Hoka are going for here, just to emphasise the extra springiness and bounce in their new foam technology. And this colourway is available for both the men's and the women's shoe.
Okay, so first impressions of the Clifton Edge. I couldn't help but be struck as I put them on as to how well they fit me. They came up pretty narrow. I've got relatively narrow feet, so really nice snug fit. There's no cushioning on the tongue, which surprised me, but I suppose that reduces weight, and it did still feel like a really nice fit. It laced up really comfortably. The tongue itself is connected to the rest of the upper inside the shoe, and it felt really nice.
So what's it like running in the new Hoka Clifton Edge? Well, they're a very light shoe, that's for sure. Definitely no getting away from that. Fit-wise for me though, I do come up with quite a wide foot. I do just feel a little bit snug on the width side of things. Thinking about speed work and racing, because that's what sort of lightweight shoes are designed for. Would I wear these for my speed work and racing? I'm going to say probably not. And that is down just to them being that little bit snug, but also they feel a little bit stiff through the sole. They don't feel as responsive as some of my lighter shoes that I would wear for faster stuff.
The materials in general feel really premium. It is a premium shoe after all, and the upper in particular does feel nice and breathable, so I don't think I'm going to have any problems with sort of overheating in these ones.
I do love the way these look when I'm running in them. It feels like I've got ice creams on my feet or something, so they feel really summery, which is great because it is summer despite the cloudy weather today.
Now, Hoka talk about their early stage meta rocker, so I'm not sure I fully understand that, but I will say that the shoes do feel like they propel you forward, so I genuinely can feel that on foot strike and roll through that I feel like I'm being propelled forwards, which is a really nice feeling. They're plush and comfortable, but I am aware of a relative lack of support and the fact that they're also a relatively low drop at 5mm. So that does feel different to a lot of the shoes that I often run in. I've run in a few Hokas recently, and I know that that's the point, but it's still worth flagging that to me, it still feels quite aggressive when I'm running at a relatively slow pace like I am now. So after running in them, there's a few things that I like to touch on. They do feel incredibly soft, really comfortable, and actually really form-fitting. I have quite narrow feet, and that I felt was a really good fit for me. So I enjoyed how they fit and how they felt as soon as I put them on. They immediately felt comfortable out of the box. There's something that immediately became obvious to me looking at the sole of the shoe after I'd done a couple of easy runs in them, and they really were relatively short runs. So in the grand scheme of running hundreds of miles in a pair of shoes, these haven't had very much wear at all. But actually on the heel here, the rubberized outer section of the outsole is very minimal. In fact, it feels almost like the rest of the midsole. There's already wear to the grip here on the outside of the heel. So that would be a worry to me in terms of their longevity for what is quite an expensive shoe. Similarly, you can see wear right in the middle of my forefoot as well, again from less than 10 miles of running, so that's probably not a good sign. Out on a run, they immediately felt plush, comfortable and lightweight, which did make me feel like I could get rolling pretty quickly, pretty early in a run, earlier than I sometimes do in some of the heavier shoes that I'd wear for longer runs. That was a good sign. I didn't notice either as an encumbrance or a benefit the extra heel geometry. So it's hard for me to pass judgment on whether I think it's worthwhile. Ultimately, it's going to be adding weight. And given that I've always been encouraged not to heel strike or not to majorly heel strike, and certainly not to lead with my heel, which I think this might encourage you to do, I do wonder about whether that is a benefit or not, or whether it might actually encourage bad habits. That only time could tell. But when you're aiming for a nice midfoot strike, then ultimately this should be more or less redundant unless you're on a steep hill. Another thing that I want to talk about is the heel to toe drop, or the offset. Now these are 5mm, and if you're already a Hoka convert or you're familiar with running in relatively low drop shoes, then this shouldn't be a problem. And I suppose the considerations would be how plush the cushioning is, how responsive they feel, and exactly what kind of shoe you want to be running in. For me, even though I've tested a fair few Hokas over the past few months, I'm still not used to that 5mm offset. Most of the shoes that I would do my longer, slower, steady runs in have a 10mm drop, maybe an 8mm drop if they're slightly more aggressive. So I appreciate I might not be the target market, but it's also worth knowing that if you haven't tried Hokas before, or you haven't tried lower drop shoes before, there will be a bit of a breaking in or transition period where it might take a bit more of a toll on your Achilles or your ankle joint, because that's what I found when I ran a couple of runs in these.
So there you have it, our opinions on the new Clifton Edge. Just to note that this video isn't paid for in any way, and we're not asked to say nice things about the shoes. These are our genuine opinions. So for me, the Clifton Edge is definitely a shoe that I would consider doing some tempo runs in, definitely a fast feeling shoe. It's so lightweight, but also really, really comfortable. I thought that I would hate this heel, but actually it didn't really make too much of a difference to my running at all. I didn't even really notice that it was there. The fit comes up pretty snug. I would say that for my size feet, so 6.5 UK, it did fit okay, but not the roomiest of toe boxes for me with my wide foot. Overall, a really, really nice looking shoe. I think it will probably cause some debate as to whether people like it or not. I actually really do like this. So what do you think of the new Clifton Edge? Is that something that you are going to be looking at to maybe invest in, or perhaps there's another new shoe out at the moment you've got your eye on? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you, and do make sure you subscribe to the running channel and tap the bell icon to be notified when we upload new videos all about running and all of our first looks at the brand new kit launches. And we'll see you next time.